to say, Hero. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume, and all of it was found. It points to you.
How many times do I have to tell? I don't know. I don't know.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints that you are.
I don't know anything about it. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough. Shoot! Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough. You are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff. It's not true. It's a conspiracy.
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough. Shoot! Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit that you are.
It's not true. It's a
Hero, why?
No! Just hold on a second.
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all that you are the culprit.
It's not true. It's
Hero, why?
What? No! Just hold on a second.
Everything we found in your the blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough. Shoot! Everything we found in your room. Shoot! Everything we found in the blueprints, the suit parts, they are all... No, that's wrong!
Are we sure here?
What do you mean?
Well, it's the note that Hero wrote. The handwriting's obviously different when you compare it to the blueprint.
There's no way, unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are...
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to...
So Makoto, are you...
And he's not the only one.
Then who was in that robo-jump? Is it like Hero said? Was there
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto.
So?
I got it! Other than Hero, obviously he was the one in that particular suit.
Then there can be no...
That doesn't make any sense!
It makes perfect sense. Hero was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit.
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice.
What? Now that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to...
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first.
Hey, stop trying to boss us...
All things have a price.
So what is it?
We must clarify it would seem, Makoto.
I got it! I got it! They were... So, Taka's body disappeared from the... And when we found it for the second... It was the same tar... So the killer must have seen it there. That way, they wouldn't leave any...
Okay, that explains the tar. And the...
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found... But when the body... Later, when Taka's body So did...
In other words, But are you sure you are...
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was made specifically? It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made it. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along?
She's raised an objection.
There is no shame. We have all accepted the fact. You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Do your worst! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! You have it wrong!
I refuse to give up yet!
You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Do your worst! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree! You are a fool! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool! So pathetic! Lies will get you nowhere! Do your worst! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree!
This should prove it! If you're asking for proof that when I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain. So they...
What kind of
I'm not sure.
I'd be happy to explain if you look back on how the body... As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment,
And from there,
Yeah, the culprit then loaded it onto the dolly.
now,
keep in mind that the dolly doesn't...
Well, yeah. All you'd have to... Then you could push the dolly, no problem. So the killer just imparted the...
if you accept, then you must realize that who...
Sorry, I don't think I realize anything.
As we know, and from there,
Yeah, the then loaded it onto...
now, keep in mind...
Well, yeah. All you'd have to do is...
Bend over. No, it's wrong. You're absolutely right that you could, but if you were wearing that suit... Think back to what you said when we were all checking out... When you're in that suit, not only am I right about that?
Now that you mention it...
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push...
Well, what's to stop you from seeing...
When you can't even see your feet?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible! Not that
On top of that, if you were wearing... It's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a...
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off...
I got it! I don't think taking off the...
That's true. It's...
Then...
Of course, he could have gotten it off by himself. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
Yeah, that's right!
So... It's really...
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hiro in the room.
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away. If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit. Besides, do you remember what the now... So long as those facts exist, the individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. Yeah.
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single... Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered.
Perhaps, but where do we go?
Let's review this series of...
I don't disagree.
Plus, maybe...
All right then. I suppose we could... Four of us, we...
And
So, regarding Taka's...
I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was... While Taka's death came...
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order he was killed in.
shoot!
So, I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know Taka came last
What makes you say that?
because of the numbering of the
Justice hammers! Shoot! I refuse to give up yet!
So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that he flew while Taka's dead.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, I wonder if he... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say
Because of the number...
It's true that he flew while Taka's dead.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after. So, I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
No, it's wrong! Hold on. There's no reason to assume. If anything, that's just...
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in... But in reality, Taka was... Okay then, let's...
Now I understand! I've got it! Papa's wristwatch! See? Look! It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night... So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then And he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were...
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder, because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
That may be true in the case of Taka's, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, when we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Then we all ran down to the nurses. That's totally true! We're all in the...
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up!
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard, since all of us were there together.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered when his body vanished from the nurse. Hina and I were in the bathroom and then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing. Well, don't forget, I was...
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could've...
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway. In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi, or, on the other hand, Hiro and...
For now, we can't get fixed. So instead of who, in particular,
That's true. We searched everywhere, and according to what Celeste said, his body apparently to carry that...
Oh man, yeah!
Well, what if I told you that...
What?
If the dead body were to move itself?
The dead body?
No!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. We thought Hifumi was dead.
He was...
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That... it isn't...
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No. If Hifumi was dead, and you know that surely you heard the body discovery announcement, Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance you...
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that surely you heard the body that Hifumi's dead, and that is...
Are we really so... Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he was out?
No. Hifumi was dead, and you know that surely you heard the body discovery announcement. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the...
Are we really... Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first there's a chance he...
No. If Hifumi was dead, and you know that surely you heard the body Hifumi's dead body had been found.
no, that's wrong! Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement...
Maybe. But that was also the same...
That's right. It wasn't long after...
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in... I think we've confused whether the announcement...
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, There really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply...
What do you say, Monokuma?
Well, it's a very... But what I can say about the body disc, it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body.
That didn't answer our question, man.
No, actually, that was... He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then...
Huh? Later.
Exactly. I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository. It didn't seem weird at the time.
Exactly. If we were...
And in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the
And that's just... There's one other thing that...
Oh, I know, because he was super good at playing that.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found him, and then his body disappeared.
And the next time it was in the...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was, there was no notable difference.
Then...
Was he...
Of course not. It is impossible. This is... Well, here's one. The first time we found him, and then his body
And the next time it was in...
But when you compare his body before, other than the change, there was no notable difference.
No, he's wrong! In fact, there was one clear... His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only...
Perhaps you'd like to...
When we found But when we found him again, they were spot. And I found the yacht. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning. One look at the bloodstain. This piece of cloth and the mascot on the cloth is the same. And whose digital...
The character was...
Then there's no question.
So let's assume that he pretends to be dead. And with that, the impossible task.
But then, if he... What was with all that blood?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for...
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easy. It should be perfectly obvious.
I got it! If it only...
While we were all...
That also explains...
The door was locked.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you? That's right. We found—
What? And?
Okay, well, forget—
That's the note I was telling you about. Huh? Wait, Monokuma can't find out, so...
See, then this note isn't— In other words, the killer got and that person could only have been— Shoot! In other words, and that person could only have been— I got it! That's right! The killer used this—
Hello? I don't really understand what's going on. So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok. They were drawing out Huffy.
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka.
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it? Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was, it must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it say?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it say?
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was must have been Huffy!
Shoot!
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to me?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok! Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was must have been Huffy!
But remember what time did it
6 a.m.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, it's wrong! No!
What the hell are—
The note said to me that you've already proven that, but there's more. Look where the note— the equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and I think that should be plenty to show that—
Well,
No further objections!
Then someone used that note. The culprit.
but if they gave the note to Taka, what was his—
Stuffed down his pants?
most likely. Hifumi's—
Where's your proof?
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, if I'm right about this, I knew—
Then Taka's—
Yup,
Hifumi had the note meant for There's only one.
Taka died clutching the note, leaving behind. Did I get all that?
That means Hifumi.
Exactly.
Whoa, yeah. He was behind the whole thing!
sorry. When we found him in the repository, the second body
So then,
Whoever did is the master.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished. But
During that time, we'd all. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
wait, but
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you— Who are you calling a wolf?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too.
and what might—
The weapon they used to—
the weapon?
Yeah. Because, I mean, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same. with them having some. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office. So if Hifumi was killed in the the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, then put the hammer backward. But wouldn't that be serious?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours.
Hell yeah! It's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. The Monokuma file makes. But if the hammers were.
So the question is, personally, so which hammer?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too.
Is it not possible?
I don't think it's.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3?
Shoot!
What was used to... Was it maybe Justice...
Well, but there's one thing. How was the culprit able to move? How did nobody witness them?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammer.
Well, what? The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice.
No, that's wrong! The murder weapon wasn't a... And if the hammer got covered in Hifumi's... I'd also like to point out that and even some... I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those...
If that's true, that...
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository where someone...
Whoever did that is the... Hold on a moment. I still think it's the way the graduation rule works, so the idea that anyone... Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one, only the one who actually cares, assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together.
That is...
But that only really... In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually cares, assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
Shoot!
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible.
That is...
But that only really... In this case,
However, there were two murders.
Based on the rules, even if more than one, only the one who actually... Assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong! Since there were two murders...
What do you mean?
if there'd only been one murder, naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward risk the payoff for working together. The reward, there's no point in being someone's accomplice. However, if there were some potential mutual reward...
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, they made him carry out the first
So in this case, there wasn't instead, and it only looked like a single suspicious individual by creating one
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply which, if true, means that betraying him...
That's just...
You think so? I can't help but
understand how an accomplice could be involved.
That's problem number...
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the...
A joke?
So what you are saying then? The idea that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brain fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to be the only ones who ever actually saw—
Shush! The adult. As he said, only Celeste and if we accept that Hifumi was one of the—
Are you saying?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse and— Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together and...
Celeste, you—
All I said was they must really enjoying the sight of us standing around. They must be. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys. And that is all.
And that's all it takes.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positive. We are all going to die here. We are going to die,
just like those guys died. Shoot!
All I said was they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying. The sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Shoot!
All I said was they must really be enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positive. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die,
Just like those guys
die. And that is all.
And that's all it takes.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die.
just like— No, it's wrong! That's right, when she said that.
Exactly. And so there was never any...
So how did you know? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right?
You all have such
imagination.
You claim that I was. Then what about the picture? How do you explain this picture?
It has to be so let's put the suit on. And then...
Have you so quickly forgotten? You, plus, I happen to know that this particular... In other words, It is an unassailable with everything I told you.
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other.
No.
I got it! It's not a picture of the sun. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging.
That's certainly within the realm of. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist if you saw someone wearing something like that in this.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and...
Is utterly. Hifumi was dragging him.
Is it?
Then shut your mouth.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry me.
You tried to make me look
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight. Like that.
Then the fortune telling.
No way!
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight.
You tried to make me look like.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune telling idiot is the culprit after all.
Get away! You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my...
You tried to make me look.
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person in there's no way
They could stand up. No, that's wrong. No. Even if, because that Robo-Justice...
That's right!
I'm not so I think the suit was designed from.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe.
Well then, I suppose.
Check.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot. What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, here's
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? When we asked him who had attacked, he said,
In other words, Yasuhiro Hakakura!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's...
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are
Kyoko.
Think back to how Hifumi used. How did he refer to each of us?
Shoot!
Think back to how did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right! Our last...
Exactly. I know I heard him say. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name,
I'm sure it was just incidental.
indecent?
Don't talk.
random chance. Now isn't that a... No. But he must have run out of energy.
So Hifumi was trying to...
But the name he said doesn't apply.
Well, no. And that's Celeste.
To think you'd take your fall. Come on! Well, what?
Okay, then Phyllis...
My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please...
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name. Yasuhiro.
If there's one person, it would have to be you, Celeste. How many times? Celestial Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. And since you have no way to call, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
Hifumi was trying. He wanted us to know the killer's last name. Yasuhira.
If there's one person, it would have to be you, Celeste. How many times? Celestial Ludenberg!
How long do you plan to go on?
I'm not pretending. And since
You have no way to contradict me. Shoot! I refuse to give up yet!
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name.
Yasuhira, if there's one person, it would have to be you, Celeste. How many times? Celestial Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. And since
You have no way to contradict. No, that's wrong! That's it!
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, Monokuma told us. So all we have, that's how we can find. Celeste, can you please just please?
Even when I'm put in check, it's just because until the game's over, you're never.
Fine then. Let me go over the case and that'll bring. You! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number. First, that someone, the murderous duo. They drugged him. Next, while the killer used they did all this when they were done with him. And then finally, they called Taka to... And that's where Hifumi killed him, making... The murder weapon was just as the reason hammer number... So, for these attacks, the first vacants there, the killers, they wanted to... What did... Me, so when... But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi, and they did it using an ordinary... That should cover everything. Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or... isn't it?